Good morning, everyone. This is Kathleen Stafford with Guided Light Tarot. I'm doing a part one on a prediction video with Guided Light Tarot. Hold on. I'm doing a part one on a prediction video with Guided Light Tarot. I'm doing a part one on a prediction video. Gotta mute my sound off my other screen. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm doing part one on a prediction video for July 2023. Today, my topics on my predictions are going to be some politics and also weather conditions that I am foreseeing coming up in the near future through this year. I have quite a few weather predictions. I do welcome any suggestions on any topics you'd like me to discuss and work with my guides for additional meditations for predictions for July through next year, and I would be happy to read. Now, each individual state midterms, I will be doing videos on that. I'm waiting for the primary elections for the Democratic parties to finish up before I make the list and start doing state-by-state prediction on election outcomes that are coming up. A lot of the midterms, or a lot of the Democratic primaries don't happen until late August, so I'll be working on that list of from state to state on who the competitive candidates that are up for re-election, and the Democrats will be challenging incumbents for the Senate. I'm primarily focusing on the Senate race because that's the House that I see that will be taking over. I'm getting 6 to 8 seats from my guides, but we'll see. And as I get that list and start working on that list and working on each individual state, I'll get a more precise reading on what will the incumbent win, or will it be taken over by a Democratic Party? So that's going to be on a future one, probably after August, that I'll be doing. I've been up since about 3:30 this morning. Woke up wide awake. So I started doing my morning meditations, and I started getting hits on predictions. So first of all, I am looking at hurricane season. I'm seeing hurricane season coming in, happening between June and November. Is normal hurricane season. I do see four hurricanes, 2 major ones and 2 more minor ones. I am hearing a lot of rain falling. Let me pull my earplug out. I'm hearing an echo in my head. I am hearing a lot of rain coming from these hurricane patterns on the eastern seaboard. The first one of the hurricanes is going to hit the northeastern portion of Florida and above. Florida, North Carolina will be affected, South Carolina, North Carolina, possibly all the way up to New York with heavy rains coming off that system. The other major hurricane I'm seeing going through the Gulf of Mexico and possibly impacting the state of Texas, causing flooding in the state of Texas. I'm not seeing the flooding doing major property damage and things like that on either of these, but there will be some property damage because flooding can be rather extensive. It's not going to be burying towns and cities underwater, but there may be some minor flooding, cleanup required, that type of stuff. The other 2 hurricanes I'm seeing are minor hurricanes, but they are coming with heavy rains. I'm not seeing the islands getting particularly hit bad by these hurricanes this year. They will get torrential rains from these systems, but they're not going to have any major impacts where it's going to do the devastation it has in the last couple of years. I am I'm hearing a lot of rain, especially from the East Coast, the eastern part of the United States and northeastern part of the United States. I hear rain falling, heavy rains, unusually heavy rains happening this year. Um, and I'm seeing that northern New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, those areas are going to be highly impacted by the rains. I am seeing some flooding in the Ohio River and I can't think of the name of the river. It starts with an M that feeds into the Ohio River. My daughter lives in that area. It's got a big long name. I never can remember how to say it. Anyways, that river that feeds into the Ohio River will have some flooding. It's not going to do major flooding into any of like Pittsburgh or anything like that, but houses that are along the floodplains in those areas will be affected by the flood, but I don't see it taking down houses. It'll just be more the usual 2 to 3 feet of water, basements getting flooded, having to be pumped, that kind of stuff. I also am feeling like there is going to be some heavy snowfall in upper New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio this year. Also coming. So they're going to have some unusually heavy snowfalls this winter coming up. Moving on down to, I do see a little bit of flooding through the Mississippi River Valley, or no, the Missouri River Valley, and possibly some in Mississippi too. But like I said, no major property damage from that. I am predicting that I'm still feeling that earthquake in the Mojave Desert area that will be felt. It's going to be approximately 6.7 or greater. That's here in California. It'll be felt in it's north of Kern County. That will be felt in Kern County, Tulare County, Fresno County, all the way into San Bernardino County, and as far as Las Vegas. The fault line runs sort of at a diagonal from the Mojave Desert, sort of pointing towards Las Vegas, and that's why it'll be felt. We don't normally feel those earthquakes in the Central Valley, but because of the location of that, and that fault line has been hit a couple of years ago, we will feel that in Tulare County and Fresno County, which is the Central Valley of California, just north of Bakersfield, which is Kern County. So that one's coming forward. Towns like Victorville, Apple Valley, the upper desert areas of San Bernardino County will also feel the impacts. I don't see any structural damage from this because of the earthquake, and there is going to be some splitting and shifting of that fault line, but that is not in an area that there is any property or housing. So it will be in the high desert, and so there won't be a lot of structural damage, just a lot of shaking. I am seeing fires in Northern California. They're not as bad as they have been. They'll be the worst fires will be up towards the Oregon, Southern Oregon areas. A good anchor point to sort of people that are familiar with Linda G. She lives in Northern California. Her area will get some smaller fires, but there's not going to be any major evacuation disaster type fires in her area. They'll be north of her this year, up probably above Redding and the northern parts of California, up above Sacramento and the Sacramento area, and going towards Oregon State, and over that borderlines of Cascade Mountains in that area. I do see a lot of fires. It is going to be a bad fire season this year, but I think the area in which Linda G lives in will get some spot fires that normally happen, but nothing major. There might be some fires in Southern California in the LA Basin. I'm trying to think of what the mountain range is there. It's gosh, I should know this. My mom was the contracting officer for that region. starts today. That mountain range up by Pasadena, going up towards the from LA County to San Bernardino up the 210 freeway. That mountain range up there. They what is that mountain range called? I can't think of it. I will. There'll be fires up in there. I'm seeing that it's gonna affect some housing, but I don't see tons and tons of damage. But it will be. It can be affected by rains later in the year with some mudslides, which is always really dangerous up in that area, because when they do get rains after fires, they don't have enough time to rehab the land to secure the soils, and so they might get some mudslides in that part of the region. I'm seeing a lot of heavy rains and flooding up in the BC Vancouver area, maybe even Victoria, that area that flooded a couple years ago. I'm seeing that they've had a real wet summer, and a real mild summer, and I think that they are going to have some water issues going on up in the BC area also. I do see heavy snows this winter coming from all the way down from BC, which runs the I-5 corridor that runs from Vancouver, BC, all the way down the I-5 corridor through to the Cascade Mountains, which would include Seattle, Portland, Eugene, and all the way to the Cascade Mountains. Cascade Mountains, the mountain range that you cross over when you're leaving Oregon and coming into California. I do see some heavy snows in the December time. So if you are living in that region and you're planning on doing holiday travel in December, I would suggest watch the weather warnings, pack chains with you. They'll be required to go over the passes, and just be aware that traffic's going to be moving slowly. It's been a few years since they've had heavy snows up and down the I-5 corridor, but I'm seeing that it's going to be happening. Monsoon seasons for Las Vegas and Arizona. I am seeing heavy rains this year in the monsoon seasons. They're going to get a lot of heavy rains, some flooding from the monsoons because it's an abnormal amount of rain. Well, it's high desert, so when they have monsoon season, there is a certain amount of flooding that happens. Some of it might be a little out of control, but I'm not seeing a lot of property damage occurring or anything like that. It'll be the normal type flooding of just because of the heavy downpours. But monsoon season is in the process of starting both in Las Vegas and Arizona right now. So just be forewarned of that. Colorado State will be having a lot of fires this year. And that's going to be busy. And then this fall, they're going to have a low snowfall, which is going to cause a very, very high lack of snowpack, which will impact the droughts that are seen, because a lot of the Colorado snow runoff goes into the Colorado River, which feeds down to Hoover Dam and is part of the water system that builds those water tables up and creates a lot of electricity. So Las Vegas area and California will be affected by those waterways from the lack of snowfall, and the water levels in that area, the dammed areas will remain very, very low this year. I think it'll be anywhere from 4 to 5 years before the water tables start rising back up and recovering in those areas. But we'll read more on that later. California, Oregon, I think parts of Seattle, northwestern, the Pacific Northwest are going to continue to experience drought conditions, as well as Arizona. Las Vegas, of course, parts of New Mexico and Texas are also going to experience drought conditions. So be forewarned of that. There's a lot of climate change happening and a lot of hotter weather, and that's going to continue that drought process. Yeah, I got all my droughts there. I also looked at Texas for any major freezes, or any impacts on the grids in regards to freezes and snowfall. I'm not seeing any of that this winter. There may be a few freezes, but it's not going to shut down the grid. They will have off and on colder weather than normal, but like I said, it's not going to shut down their electrical grid. I didn't read on the current electrical problems that they may be facing due to rolling blackouts and things like that. So I didn't even address that for the summer. But my guys are saying they may have issues with rolling blackouts due to high temperatures this summer. Still, we still got at least two months of high heat in Texas. So sort of a forewarning on that one. I haven't really gone in depth on it, but I'm hearing there may be rolling blackouts. We're on a 3-week heat spree here in the Central Valley of California right now. Central Valley being Kern County, which is Bakersfield area just below the Grapevine or Tehachapi Pass, better known as Tehachapi Pass, all the way up to the Sacramento Valley area. We are having really high temperatures now. We're hitting, we're in week 3 of it, but we're not exceeding 108 degrees, thank God. But it's been miserably hot here. Major earthquakes. I read on major earthquakes for the state of California. The only one I'm seeing is the one out in the Mojave Desert. There will be no other major 7 point or greater in California that I could feel right now. There will be the usual minor earthquakes that run between 3 and 6, but I'm not seeing any major property damage or anything like that from earthquakes. No big shakers over 7. So we don't have to worry about that too much. I think there will be some up north. Well, there's always up north along the coastline, there's always earthquakes occurring. They usually run 3, 4, 5. Those will continue to occur. I am seeing earthquakes off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, even up through BC and Canada, but they will be offshore, anywhere from 200 miles out offshore the coastline and further, but they will not cause any tsunamis or anything like that. They'll just be 5, 6 under the ocean bed because that plate's still shifting. So that'll continue to occur this year. I am still feeling that Mondred earthquake coming, and I did some strong concentration on that. The Mondred fault is in the central United States along the Missouri River line. I'm getting that is going to be over a 6.0, but it will be running through the riverbed through the Missouri River. It will be felt as high north as southern Illinois and possibly all the way down to Arkansas and Tennessee area, because that's the way that fault line runs. I don't see any major property damage from that, but the earth shift will happen under the Missouri River, so it might widen the depth of the Missouri River some and change the water levels and the way the water flows. But I'm not seeing destruction of property and things like that. It's going to be very unsettling for people that live in the central United States because they're not, one, used to the earthquakes. They're more apt that the sky will come falling down on them with the hurricane or tornadoes and things like that, rather than the earth shaking underneath their feet. So it will throw them off a bit. But it's the aftershocks that will make people very unnerved because they're not used to feeling the earth shake, and aftershocks can, if there's a 6 point or better, aftershocks can range between 4 and 5 and even up to 6 point again. So that's something I'm seeing that happening. I'm getting the feeling around February of 23, February, March, sometime in the springtime. Predictions and timing with my guides are not exact, so allow for that, but I still feeling that earthquake happening. And that was on my earlier predictions this year. I'm seeing no major earthquakes that'll affect, that Pacific Northwest, that region, other than the offshore ones. Okay. Next, I was looking at politics, and this is mostly going to be around the insurrection. Of course, we know Steve Bannon just got sentenced, or not sentenced. He just lost his lawsuit in court regarding his failure to appear for subpoenas. I do feel like he will be sentenced to approximately a year, not a full 2-year sentence. It will be concurrent with both charges being served concurrently, so he'll do just one term, and I see him with good time and all that other crap, him doing maybe 6 to 9 months total. He may get as little as 9 months and only do 6 months with good time. So that's what I'm seeing there. I'm seeing is out of jail in 6 months once he goes in. And he's not going to prison, a federal prison. He will be in a county jail facility because it is not a high felony. And because of the amount of time he'll be serving, he'll stay out of the prison system. But he will be going back because I do see him facing charges for the insurrection, his involvement with that, and the planning and all that. And he will be facing indictments coming up after that, after he gets out of jail. That I do see him getting sentenced to anywhere from 10 to 20 plus years on multiple charges. Him and a number of other people that I've included on charges run like that. Peter Navarro, he will also be charged probably equally to what Bannon just got for failure to appear to Congress for the 1-6 hearings, and also do a matching sentence to that. But he will also end up indicted for his involvement with the insurrection and the Green Bay Pass plan. He is also looking at 10, 20 years in prison once that's prosecuted. Of course, it's going to be interesting because he's already, I think he's pushing 70 or in his late 60s, and he's going to try to play that "I'm too old for prison" card. It's not going to work. They don't care. Other people that will be charged will include, for multiple charges in their involvement in the insurrection, will be Mark Meadows, Mo Brooks, Scott Perry, Jim Jordan, McCarthy, John Eastman, Holly. I'm even seeing charges, indictments being brought for Grassley, but I don't think Grassley's going to make it to court. Not that I want to predict negative things, but I think Grassley will make it through the midterms. I'm feeling like he's going to be passing sometime this year before the end of the year of natural causes. He's in his late 90s, so it's not unforeseen, but that's what I'm feeling. Can't hold me to it. Don't know. I see Rudy Giuliani making it to trial for his insurrection involvement. I do not see him making it through trial either. I keep seeing him collapsing in court. Hold on. I don't know what the outcome will be if he'll make it. I'm thinking massive heart attack. He will be taken away in an ambulance. I'm not seeing if he's making it or not, but I don't think he'll be making it all the way through the trial present in the court. He may have his attorneys that will postpone his trial. I'm not sure how far that will go, but he will be under indictment. In regards to the Senate, I do see McConnell staying in office, but I see him resigning after he loses control of the Senate, the Republican Party in the Senate. He's going to state his medical needs and stuff like that. That's why he's stepping down. But the truth of the matter is he's stepping down because he doesn't have enough Republicans to control any of the vote, and not enough Democrats that he can sway his way to control any of the votes and shoot down things. And so he's going to step down due to his lack of power. I'm seeing that after midterms, he will only be in office for about 3 to 5 months, someplace right in there before he steps down and retires. I'll be happy to see him retire. And that's all my predictions that I got this morning on my morning meditation. I just wanted to get some of these out there and share those with you. Thank you for coming. I know it's really early in the morning, so I'm not picking up a lot of audience right now. Thank you, Kelly and Jima, for coming in and sharing this. I will be coming back on to do a mediumship program. I've already posted it at 9:30 Pacific time. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 Eastern time. And I will be doing the mediumship. So if you have a loved one you want me to channel and bring in messages, I will be happy to do that. And I will be back on in about an hour. I'm not sure what time it is. Yeah, about an hour. It's 8:47 here in California right now, and I've got that scheduled for 9:30. So I look forward to that. Above the clouds, you will have to thank you for coming in. If you were I don't know if you've been in the chat for a while. If you missed the program, just hit the replay and watch it. If you could please hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it. It helps my logarithms as you watch the thing. If you missed my January predictions and you haven't had a chance to view that, it is still on. They were posted in January. Go back and watch it. It's pretty interesting. I need to actually go back and watch it and see what's occurred already or not. And maybe do an update on anything that has occurred since that prediction show was doing. I channel this so I don't remember what my predictions are. Going back, I actually have to watch it. So anyways, I will be back in an hour, and blessings to you all. And I look forward to seeing you in an hour. As I'll have a good morning.